Hey guys, it's your girl JannahB, and I'm sitting here with the Tracy Stephens.
Hey Jannah, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thanks so much for joining us today for the Bold Opinion Show. I'm glad it's a beautiful day outside, and we're here to talk about your new release, your new book release.
Yes.
Okay.
Forgive yourself and be free.
Forgive yourself and be free. So, first of all, let's talk about that title really quick. Where did the inspiration for this title come from?
It pretty much came from me realizing that it was time to let go of my past and stop living with that being on my mind or my heart. That was something I really struggled with while I was writing this book out, and I just felt like for this to be the book that I'm like putting everything out there and letting it go, it was like, hey, go with this book title, Forgive Yourself and Be Free, and you know, the subtitle for it is Don't Let Your Past Kill You. And that was something that was important to me that I wanted to make sure got expressed in this book and through the title.
So at the end of the book, do you feel like it has fulfilled the title's purpose?
Of course, I definitely feel like I finally let everything go. I made peace with myself, peace with my past mistakes, you know, with just everything that I've done in my life, the things that were beating me up. I finally feel like I can say that I overcame them and that like I came out on top. It may have knocked me down and, you know, it blacked my eye a little bit, but at the same time I recovered from it and I overcame my issues, and a lot of people can't say that, but I'm happy to say that like I'm finally like happy again, and that was something that was important to me. Like I feel like myself, you know, I always tell my mom, I was like, the day after I graduated from college back in 2014, it felt like something changed. But for the first time, like when March 1st 2018 hit, for the first time I felt like myself again, and it's just been a slow, steady process, and each day I get better and better, and that's my main focus.
I like it. So this is your fourth book?
Yes, it is.
Your fourth book. And
yeah.
So what makes this book different from your first three, excuse me?
It makes it different because this book I was way more personal. My past three books, or I would say my first book, for Free Your Mind and Eliminating Your Fears for a Better Life, that book was more so just self-help. The second book, Don't Let Your Crown Slip, I had the opportunity to work with 18 women who told their stories, and we turned it into a compilation book. Then my third book, I Think Too Much, Thoughts of a Dreamer, it was another self-help. But Forgive Yourself and Be Free is my life, it's my story, it's my problems, it's my thoughts, it's what I went through. I pretty much took everything from my first three books, but did it from a personal level. And although it is my story, it's self-help in a way, because people can be able to relate, to be like, hey, I went through that same thing. And I just want to show people that, hey, it's okay to talk about what you go through, because sometimes you got to vent in order to keep yourself sane.
Yeah, it's good to release sometimes, and because keeping all that energy, all those thoughts, all those feelings inside of you can eventually lead to an explosion.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yes, it can.
So no, I'm glad that you realized that,
yeah.
and you took the opportunity to write it down.
For sure.
Write it down. Speaking of writing, how long did it take you to write it, and then like what was your methods? Like,
so the idea of this book came about in 2018, towards the end of 2018, and the approach was like, okay, I'm gonna write this book, and initially it was like, all right, take your problems, but do it from a self-help point of view. And then I remember talking to my mom, I was like, I just want to do something different with this one. Like, I want to tell my story, because, you know, when I tell people my personal story, like in person, so many of them like, man, you need to do something with that. So I just remember her saying, like, people need to hear what you've been through. Like, you can inspire people. And I was like, forget it, I'm going to take this letter I wrote called I'm Caught Up, that I posted on January 20th, 2018. And I was like, I'm going to turn that into my book. And from there, like, I remember the end of that year hit, and I was like, January 1st, 2019, like we get into it, and I started writing. And I remember I would hit points where I had writer's block, but you know, I would find ways to overcome it. My friends would inspire me, family and stuff. And, you know, what was it? Probably like the end of May, I finally had what I wanted. So it took, you know, 5 months, but it was worth it.
Yeah.
You know, and like I got some throwaway chapters that didn't make it in the book that I may release at a later date, but the 21 chapters that are in there are the ones that needed to be told to the world. This is what it means, because 21 means something to me, because that was the age when all this just started happening. Like everything I talk about. When I graduated, I was 21 years old, and I felt like that was the start of it all. So let's go with 21 chapters.
Ooh, that's actually sweet. That's a sweet point there. So, 21 chapters.
Yes.
What does 21 chapters mean to you?
21 chapters to me is the age that everything got started, that I started really realizing like, yo, I got some serious like issues I need to deal with. And it took a lot for me to come to that realization. I don't think it was until it was when I turned 25 that I realized like, man, you've been through a lot of stuff over these last 4 years of your life, from, you know, working a part-time job to just living with my parents, not knowing what the hell I was gonna do. You know, it's like when I got out of college, like most college students, you think, hey, I'm gonna get a job, like I'm finna move the hell on from
it's
my
gonna be
hometown, like
gravy, like
yeah.
I'm gonna be so taken off in life, like everything's just gonna be great.
Yes.
And then reality sets in.
My favorite chapter is chapter 6, Be Careful. And Be Careful, I pretty much talked about my doggish ways as a man, what I was focused on as far as just being one that seemed to talk to women just for sex. You know, I admitted my wrongs when it came to that. I just felt like it was time for me to apologize to the women that I hurt. Obviously, I know in the book, all of them won't see that, but, you know, if I could tell them in person, I would. But, you know, due to other circumstances, you know, when you and a person stop talking, sometimes that's it. Like, you never get that opportunity to apologize. But with this, it gave me an opportunity to just put everything out there, you know, admit my wrongs, you know, the people I've hurt, and just be honest with them and tell them, you know, about what I did. And I felt like that was important because, you know, throughout the chapter, I talked about soul ties and karma and just how much those had affected my life, because I be so focused on getting with different women, not realizing that I'm pulling they BS into my life through that soul tie. And I just felt like the soul ties I created with them caused a lot of hell in my life. And, you know, to this day, I think it really kind of messed me up when it came to me, like, committing to somebody, because I was afraid that how I did them and hurting them, that it was going to come back on me and that I get hurt by whoever I really want to pursue.
Right. Karma is what we call it.
Yes. Yes.
Karma is what we call it. Okay, so what do you hope your readers get out of this book?
I hope that my readers see that it's okay to talk about your issues. It's okay to talk about your problems. You know, so many of us walk around every day and got so much on us that we just need to, like, relieve ourselves of. But I just want people to see that, like, yo, find somebody you trust, or go to a therapist, or talk to God, like whoever you feel comfortable talking to, and just put it out there. Like, it never hurts, because you never know what you will discover about yourself, you know. And I know for me, that's how it was. My person who I talked to was my mom. Like, I could talk to her about any and everything, and through that, you know, we found ways for me to meditate spiritually on who I was as a person. We found ways that I could get better in, you know, different places in my life. And I just feel like I hope people can see that from my book, that, man, let me take some of these means and methods and apply to my own life and see what it can do for me. And I think that it'll give people an opportunity to find their happiness as well.
I like it. I like it. Nice. Nice. You got any dedications?
Honestly, this book's dedicated to my family, my friends. Because man, without them, I wouldn't be here. Like, and that's just being real. Like, they kept me level, and they kept me focused on what was most important, which was taking care of myself and being the best I can be. You know, I definitely want to like shout out my parents, Carol and Tracy Stephens, and my brother Stephen Benz, because they've been like my #1 support system. And without them, like, man, I really don't know where I would be in life. And like, I owe them all my success. Like, and you know, like,
they helped you. They helped you through this, and I understand where that energy is coming from, and you helped that helped you fuel your what you put into that book.
Yes, it did. You know, just their love, and honestly, I appreciated their criticism, because it allowed me to check myself and to see that, like, you can do better at this, you can do better at that. And you know, to my friends, Dexter, Ryan, Jamarius, Teron, Spencer, Keith, and Terry, like, I just want to thank all of them, because them been my boys, and they've been here for me.
Yeah.
Like, when I didn't have family who I felt like I could go to, like, them the ones I felt like I could call on and get a good laugh, or even just have a serious talk about business, or you know, what was going on with me. Like, I appreciate them. Like, them my friends. And also, another dedication for this book, I won't say her name, but I want to thank the girl who called me selfish for calling me that, because it allowed me to really check myself and see that I did have some selfish ways. So I want to thank her for telling me that, because it allowed me to see within myself that I needed to improve on who I was as a man.
So Tracy, I really wanted to thank you for sitting down with me today and going over the details of your book. I'm excited to get through it myself, to kind of dig and see if I can find some tea. But do you have any closing remarks?
Honestly, one thing I want to do is just, you know, send a message to my hometown, to my people in Athens, Georgia. Like, to the people there, I just want them to see that, like, the one's still there. You can make it out if you hadn't already did that. Like, it's still a chance for that. Like, it doesn't matter how old you are. Like, you can still get out of Athens. You know, it shouldn't take a person to turn 30, 35 years old for them to realize, like, damn, like, this is what my life is. Like, I settled for a mediocre job, breaking my back every week, just to bring enough home to pay the bills. Like, that's not the way. Like, it's a way out. And if you put your mind to it, you stay focused on what's most important, and just cut, like, the BS out your life, bro, you can do whatever you want to do in life. And, you know, that's why I think it's important for them to see that, for their kids to be able to see that through them. You know, because I know it's a lot of people I went to school with where I see them now, and it's just like, man, what happened?
Right.
You know, and if I could do something to help them, to inspire them, I will. In which, you know, I try to do that through these books. I try to do that with the motivational stuff I post every day. Like, I want to see my people in Athens be just as successful as I am, as other people I know who come from my city. Like, we all deserve to make it out. Like, Athens should not be the end goal. It should be the place you leave and you be able to come back to and tell people about the great things that you're doing. And, you know, it's like what I always tell my friends, like, make a name for your city. Like being from Athens, everybody hear UGA. I want it to become a point that whenever people hear Athens, they think of me and they think about the other great people that come from that city that have given back and tried to make the best of the community that they come from.